In 2023, this company was worth $400 billion. 2 years later, it crossed $3 trillion. That's not a typo. We're talking about a chip company. The kind of company that makes the tiny pieces of silicon you've never seen, but that run everything you use. Your phone, your laptop, your car, your AI chatbot. All of it depends on these chips. And when AI exploded, demand for these chips exploded with it. But here's the part nobody expected. One company positioned itself perfectly, not because it was the biggest, not because it had the most money, but because it made one decision 15 years ago that everyone else ignored. While other tech giants were fighting over apps and ads, this company was quietly building the foundation for the AI revolution. And when ChatGPT launched, the entire world came knocking at their door. Today, their chips are so critical that governments talk about them in national security meetings. Their production lines run 24/7, and their stock price went parabolic. This is the story of how artificial intelligence turned a quiet chip company into the third most valuable company on Earth, and why this might just be the beginning. Let's rewind to 2008. The economy was collapsing. Tech companies were cutting costs, and most people thought GPUs were only for video games. But one company saw something different. They realized that the same chips that render 3D graphics could also solve complex math problems. The kind of math problems that power machine learning. While everyone else was focused on making faster CPUs, this company started redesigning their GPUs for parallel processing. It was risky, it was expensive, and for years, it looked like a waste of money. Investors were impatient. Revenue was flat. Competitors laughed. But inside the company, engineers were building something that didn't exist yet. A software ecosystem that would make their chips the default choice for AI research. They gave it away for free. They wrote the documentation. They built the community. And slowly, universities started using it. Then research labs. Then startups. By 2016, every major AI lab in the world was running on their hardware. Not because they had the best marketing, but because they had the only system that actually worked at scale. Fast forward to November 2022. ChatGPT goes live. 1 million users in 5 days. 100 million users in 2 months. And behind every single query was a GPU made by that chip company. Suddenly, every tech company needed thousands of these chips. Not hundreds. Thousands. Microsoft needed them for Azure. Google needed them for Bard. Meta needed them for Llama. Startups needed them to compete. The problem? There weren't enough chips. Production takes time. Building a chip factory costs $20 billion and takes 3 years. So demand went through the roof, and supply stayed flat. Price went up. Margins went up. Stock price went up. In 12 months, the company added $2 trillion in market value. That's more than the entire GDP of most countries. Analysts called it the biggest wealth creation event in tech history. And it all came down to one thing: timing. So why did this company win while others missed the wave? 3 reasons. First, they own the software layer. Hardware is easy to copy. Software ecosystems are not. Once developers learn your platform, they don't switch. It's like learning a language. You don't forget it overnight. Second, they reinvested during the quiet years. While competitors focused on short-term profits, they spent billions on R&D that wouldn't pay off for a decade. That's rare in public companies. Third, they built partnerships, not just products. They worked with every cloud provider, every AI lab, every government research center. They became the standard. And when the AI boom hit, they were the only supplier that could deliver at scale. Competitors tried to catch up, but catching up in chips takes years and billions. And by the time they're close, the market has already moved forward. This is what happens when you play a 10-year game in a 2-year industry. The biggest risk is competition. Every major tech company is now designing their own AI chips. If they succeed, demand for external chips drops. The second risk is geopolitics. Chip manufacturing is concentrated in one region. Governments are now investing billions to build local factories. That changes the supply chain. The third risk is demand itself. What if AI growth slows down? What if the next model doesn't need 10x more compute? then the entire thesis breaks. Smart companies plan for this. They're already expanding into automotive chips, data center CPUs, and AI software services. Diversification is the only way to stay relevant when your main product becomes a commodity. Because in tech, today's monopoly is tomorrow's legacy system. The company knows this. That's why they're not celebrating. They're building. Here's what this story really tells us. The AI revolution isn't about apps. It's about infrastructure. Everyone talks about ChatGPT, Midjourney, Claude, but none of them exist without the chips underneath. And the company that controls that layer controls the future. We saw this before with oil. Whoever controlled oil controlled the 20th century. Today, whoever controls compute controls the 21st. That's why governments are getting involved. That's why $500 billion is being poured into chip factories worldwide. This isn't just a business story. It's a power shift. And it started because one company decided to build for a future nobody believed in yet. They didn't chase trends. They created the foundation for the next one. That's how you go from $400 billion to $3 trillion in 24 months. So what's the lesson here? Opportunities don't look obvious at the start. They look like wasteful R&D, like risky bets, like things that don't make sense on a spreadsheet. The companies that win are the ones willing to lose money for 5 years to own the next 20. And for us watching, the lesson is simple. Pay attention to infrastructure. Follow the money where the bottleneck is. Because in every revolution, the people selling shovels often make more than the people digging for gold. AI is the gold rush of our generation. And the shovel makers just became a $3 trillion company. The question is, what's the next bottleneck? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want the next breakdown on the company building the future of AI memory, subscribe. Because this story is far from over.